occasion again for us to be able to speak to Mr. Paula, moderator, who is in charge of basketball in our region, that is in the SADC region. And of course, a lot of things have been happening in the game of slam and dunk. And it's our pleasure to have Paula with us here on our program, the game changer. Each and every Wednesday we meet with you and we are able to speak to you. And so without wasting much time, Paula Madeira, what is the effectiveness and the influence that basketball is bringing to the region?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a really pleasure to stay here with you. And about your question, it's important to make a big reflection. As you know, our region is composed by countries from the English influence. And as you know, the basketball is not a privileged sport in English culture. For this reason, I think we start very, very far of soccer, rugby, and even netball. So in reality, in the beginning of our mandate in 2019, we start moving with the national federations to try to improve his capacity to realize competition in the national level, and even the capacity to host international competition. To use this motivation to create a big movement of the people around basketball and try to develop his activity in each country. In reality, I think we are very happy with these challenges because, as you know, now in the region, the basketball is moving, is growing up. In reality, we not only for basketball, but even for the other sports, we have new venues in the region, in Malawi, in Lesotho, you know, even for the Africa Union Sports Council Region 5 games. The last games give us good infrastructure to play basketball in other sports in our region. I think now our influence is becoming be better and bigger if you compare it with the other sports. We in our board in the zone, we are very happy with this development. I would like to say maybe to apologize about my English, but you know it's not my first language, and I try to do my best to clarify all the answers as I give to you. Thank you very much.
You're doing quite well. That's exactly what we are. We Portuguese, we Zimbabwean, we Namibians, we all in the SADC region. So we do coexist in this ecosystem that we live
Exactly.
in. Beautiful game of slam and dunk, as they call it, that is attracting a lot of youngsters. And as you rightfully said, that was going to be my next follow-up question, that the region is setting up standards for you to be able to play in courts, in basketball courts that are up to international standards.
Yes, yes. In reality, we have a good infrastructures in South Africa, in Angola, and Botswana. Botswana have a very, very interesting gym, but we need to have, maybe we need to involve the government to make investments for the infrastructure, because you know the obligations from FIBA and the obligation of all the international federations now became more restricted for the rules to host some competitions in the international level. But in my opinion, we need to start from the beginning. We need to start with the youth. because if you want to be big in senior level, you need to work properly in the youth system. And in reality, we are very happy because for the youth level, we have the capacity, we have the infrastructure to support the games because before we have problems to realize competition in Lesotho and Malawi, but now Lesotho and Malawi is ready to host any competition. Eswatini is have infrastructure enough to host the youth competition, but at the senior level, in high competition level, we need to do more. But of course, it's not only the FIBA and the FIBA zone structure, not the federations. We need the help of the government. But in reality, the paper of Africa Union Sports Council Region 5 in this process is very interesting because when you compete at this level, and this competition is for youth, all the government is involved and realize some investments, even with the support of Africa Union. And so I think the Africa Union Sports Council have the real tool to help all of us, to help all the sports to improve the quality and the availability of infrastructure in our zone. I think this is the key thing to develop the basketball as a sport in our region.
And Paulo, talking about development, what is it that you guys are doing to make sure that there is development from a junior level up to the senior teams? What age groups do you target so that you can grow them and groom them to be the biggest stars in terms of basketball?
Yeah, Angola in Mozambique is the bigger in the region, no? And so we try to create the possibility to these teams in every competition in the zone, and even at the Africa Union Sports Council competition, to be present in this competition, to stimulate the other countries to develop. Because the kids, when the kids try to do something, in reality, the motivation for challenging is not like the adults. Is the kids want to have the dream, and the dream means lots of resources to try to do something. And so, for this reason, we make an agreement with Africa Union Sports Council Region 5 to realize or to transform all the competitions from in our region to FIBA competition. What's the idea? The idea is to realize this competition with the level of FIBA event, with the good quality of the referees, the good quality of the table officials, and all the people involved in the system, to create the possibility at the first time before the competition to realize training programs for table officials, for referees, to give to the country, to give to each country the capacity to realize is national competition with the people prepared to support this competition, and even to host competition, reduce the cost to host competition. You need to understand sometimes when you host one FIBA competition, one of the biggest costs is the cost of travel, accommodation, and meals for the referees coming from other side of Africa, table official, commissioner, and all the people involved. In reality, now in each country, we have capacity to receive competitions, international level, without any table official from outside of this country, even the small countries in our region. About the referees is different because sometimes you need the neutral referee, and it's important for the true game. But even the small countries have now referees in the international level. But for us, I think it's not enough. It's not enough. But in reality, we're still working on this. We're still working very hard with all the national federation to still realizing training programs and still preparing people to improve the activity and to develop basketball in our region. And so in this moment, we are preparing one training program for coaches in Mozambique and another one in Angola. It's not for only these countries, is to two coaches for each country to participate in this program, because without people qualified working in the system, is impossible to develop anything. It's the key, and we need to move on this.
You've already touched on a very interesting topic, and that is of capacity building and making sure that your officials are up to standard. What are some of the courses? You've just mentioned one that's going to be in Mozambique and being hosted by Mozambique soon. But what are some of the efforts that you do to enable to make sure that your chair umpires, your referees, and the guys that are involved in the whole game, they find training? What are some of the things that you do to train these personnel?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting and difficult to answer this question. But in reality, our strategy, my strategy when became president of the Region 6 of FIBA Africa, was at the first time creating FIBA instructors for all the areas. FIBA instructors in our zone. Now we are working, we have two FIBA instructor, commissioner and referee in South Africa, and one FIBA instructor in Mozambique for coaches. The next step is to create instructors per country for commissioner, for referees, and for coaches. Because when you have the instructor in your country, and you see now South Africa have the lucky to be two instructors in this country, it's easy for the national federation to realize these internal programs with good level, with FIBA level and FIBA exigence. Because one of the problems is the money to move the people to attend the programs, to attend the training activities. In reality, maybe you don't know, but I was president of Angolan Basketball Federation, and from 2013 to 2016. And we try to use the same concept where I was in Angola, is to use the schools, the university, with its capacity to receive people for accommodation, to eat in the same system of the students, to create the opportunity to all of people interested to attend these training programs. We don't have a budget to support these activities, and sometimes we use my family resources to travel and to help you know, but sports is in our life, and we don't complain about it, but sometimes it's not possible to help some guys to attend these programs. But in reality, we try to do our best to involve more people every year, to qualify more people every year, because I think is the only way to develop our game in the region.
It's great because I hear that there are a lot of referees now that are within the SADC countries who are accredited to FIBA, so they can actually blow in the bigger tournaments like worldwide, and even the coming of some of these big tournaments that happen. And so that's helping from your side, that those same referees can try
Yeah,
and then teach
yeah,
those that are
David,
countries.
we have a real struggle in FIBA because the concept of evaluation of the referees is changed. Before you need to be present in the program. Now you just go into the platform in the internet and make the training and the exams, evaluation, everything. In reality, some of referees develop his level of career in not real condition, because they don't make enough games per season, and all of these things is connected. Why? Because if you're not organized to realize your local competition, normal local competition in the countries, if youth level, in the senior level, if these referees don't make maybe 40 games per season, the development of this referee is compromised, you know? And so, and because FIBA check the reports of the national federation, you know, unfortunately in our zone, we still have federation without activities or with short activity, just compete 1 week or 2 weeks. You know, this competition, this type of competition is not enough to develop the players, it's not enough to develop anyone in the system, even the referees. And so when this referees goes to one competition in international level, even in the continental level, in the first day, they need to make a test. And sometimes the test don't work very well because they don't have the practice, you know? It's like when you are working lawyer as a medicine or something like this, you need to work every day. You need to think your activity every day. You need to practice. And so if you make only 6, 8 games per season, you're not for sure at the same level of one referee is going to make 60 games per season, you know? And so this is we need to understand, and so we give a special word for all the federation to try the best to develop and normalize is intern or local competition in the youth and the senior level to develop all the people in the system.
When you say that, Paulo, I'm just thinking, what are some of the things that you are doing as a federation to make sure that there's competition around the SADC countries? Which are the, I've actually watched one qualifier, FIBA qualifier in Zimbabwe. I think it was in March. What are some of the competitions that you are doing to ensure that there's practice first for the officials themselves, and making sure that for the players as well, they are able to play around each other? You mentioned rightfully that the region does give you the youth games, which is very important, the AUSC games. So what other platforms of tournaments, of competition do you do as a region to make sure that the region is playing amongst themselves?
Yes, we try to, in reality, from 2019 till now, we we really create a movement of competition in the small countries. When I say small countries, not like dimension, it's small countries in the system, you know, because in reality, we try to not organize competition in Angola and Mozambique exactly to promote the competition in the other countries. Because, you know, if the kids watch the games, if the kids is involved as a to support the game, to help the teams, everything is promotion for our sport. And so we starting this year to use the 3-on-3 competition to promote more activity in the zone. In reality, I propose in the last meeting for the National Federation leaders, we want, in my vision, we need to divide our region per 3 subzones. It's like for 3-on-3 competition, we try to create tournaments every month to involve players, because the cost to travel 4 people or 5 people is not the same cost to travel 20. And the idea is the countries stay together in the subzone by proximity. Because the 3-on-3 competition is one weekend, maybe Saturday and Sunday. We can involve maybe 20 teams. And if you have the possibility to travel by road, it's like South Africa, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe, Namibia, or Swaziland, Namibia and Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, maybe, because South Africa is more central, and sometimes it's easy to South Africa because even the dimension of South Africa permitted, maybe the kids from Nelspruit can go to play in Mozambique, but the kids from Johannesburg can go to play in Lesotho. You know, in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe is 800 kilometers. And so we try to create with the National Federation one solution to try to realize every month one 3-on-3 tournament in those destinations, and subdivided the zone in three areas, distinct areas. Yeah, that's the vision we try to do. In reality, we also try to use this competition at the same time to qualify people, basically coaches and the referees. All the time we try to introduce one instructor to stay in this tournament to realize these action programs. In reality, I don't know if you know, but in Malawi and Lesotho, before those competitions in the last 2 editions of the Africa Union Sports Council Games, we training maybe more than 70 people in Malawi and Lesotho. For this reason, I say, if you want to realize one competition in Malawi now, in this moment, we have the table officials there to receive this competition. We have the referees. It just need referees outside, depending of the number of the teams. But in reality, the National Federation can realize his competition normally with the people trained in this country.
That's quite interesting. Maybe just as we drawing closer to the end of this interview, 3x3 has just taken basketball by storm. Just a little bit, maybe just explain to us a 3x3 concept, which you can actually dunk from the streets as well.
Yes. You, in reality, you remember before, in my time when I was a player, was street basketball. The FIBA just doing introducing some rules and transform now the 3-on-3 may be the one of the sports in true development in the world because it is easy to play. You just put the hoop there and you play and you play. And so, in my opinion, we need to move on this for this way, not to try to create complications because when you have 1,000 people involved on the system, now you can make event more sophisticated but sometimes the people is thinking about something sophisticated, expensive, but it's not nobody can wait for the perfect moment. The moment is now. I think we can do it right now, and all of us can make tournaments in the country. One thing very interesting. Angola is my country, and is the powerful country in the region because it's history. But the first country on 3-on-3 in our zone is Botswana.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Because Botswana understand the concept and try to use the system to develop his basketball. Another thing more important, and I share with all the leaders of national federations in the zone in 2019 in Bamako, I said, the 3-on-3 is the fast way to go to the World Cup and to the Olympic Games. Because to create a team to compete in high level with 12 players is more difficult than you create a team to compete in high level with three players. For this reason, I try to convince all the leaders to, even if you don't do 5-on-5, but do the 3-on-3 because it's the easy way to develop and to mobilize even outside the country support to develop basketball in this country.
Well, if you are a cricket lover, 3x3 is equivalent to your T20 because it's a faster game as well. And so, just before we let you go, Paulo, who are some of the best players that have emerged from the region? We're talking of, I just read there was a player from Zimbabwe, Vitalis Chikoko, who plays in Paris. He was voted the most improved player, the MVP player for twice in a row in France. Who are some of the players from Angola, from Mozambique, and even from the region who have really given us a name, whether it's in the States or wherever they've played?
You see, this kid Vitalis is an amazing player. I saw him in the lots of tournaments, qualifier tournaments of the Zimbabwe, and unfortunately, I don't see him in high level in the AfroBasket because he's a fantastic player. I remember 2019 or 2018, I talked with some presidents of the teams in Angola to make a contract, and the value of Vitaly is not the value today, but he's a really amazing player. But in my opinion, we need to try to use these players. Simba. Today, everything is communication. Everything is communication. And one of the biggest problems to us in the region, in our board, I penetrate myself, it's the weak capacity to communicate and to use all these resources to find a way to develop together. And the paper of the players is important too. But in reality, we don't use properly this resource to develop and even to promote players. But I have a dream, maybe in the next years we're gonna find the right way to use these resources to do better. It's my opinion.
Well, Paulo Madeira, I must thank you so much for coming through on another edition of the Game Changer here on the AUSC Region 5 platform, where we speak to some of the people that are making the changes. As you've heard, Paulo is making changes in terms of the game of basketball, and we hope that with your influence, we can see a lot of development and a lot of competition within the region. I must thank you so much for coming through, and bon dia.
Thank you, David. Bom dia. Tchau,
Bom dia,
tchau.
Adeus.
Adeus.
Estou bem,
Tchau.
man.
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank
Great
you.
stuff. So that was Paul Madeira coming through to speak to us in terms of what's happening in the sport of basketball. Another edition next week. Join us on the Game Changer.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
It's
you,
a pleasure.
Sure.